And Chairman Davidson, you can take the floor.
Thank you. I'd like to call this meeting of the Township of Clearview Committee of Adjustment to order at 7 p.m. Note that all members are present. And the minutes of our previous meeting have been circulated. Are there any errors or omissions or questions from members of committee? Seeing none, I'd ask for a motion then to approve the minutes as circulated. Member Burton, Member Fanton, all in favor? That's approved. Is there any declarations of pecuniary interest from any member of committee? Acknowledging that everyone's shaking their head no. Excellent. Our first and only application tonight is a minor variance, file number 20-A16. Property known as 1921 County Road 42 here in Clearview Township. I will turn it over to the secretary to read the notice and any accompanying correspondence.
Thank you, Chairman. The subject application concerns lands municipally known as 1912 County Road 42, formerly Nottawasaga, and legally described as Concession 3, South Part Lot 17. The purpose of the application is to recognize the deficiency in lot area for the subject lands that are zoned agricultural in Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw 06-54. The lands are subject to a boundary adjustment that will alter the configuration of the property. However, this will not result in worsening the deficiency. The existing lot area will remain the same. The effect of the application is to recognize a lot area of 22.2 hectares, whereas the agricultural zone requires 35 hectares. There were no comments received for the application, and I do have a recommendation from the Planning Department that the Committee of Adjustment of the Township of Clearview hereby approve the minor variance 20-A16 pertaining to lands at 1912 County Road 42, formerly Nottawasaga Township, now in the Township of Clearview, and legally described as South Part Lot 17, Concession 3, on the basis that it meets the 4 tests in accordance with the Planning Act. And that is all I have.
Thank you very much. I provide an opportunity for either Ms. Phillips or Mr. Ward if they had anything that they would like to contribute in addition to the report that we have. You're both muted still.
Am I good now?
Yep, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of committee. Yes, Gary Ward is with me this evening from Mad River Golf. You'll recall that at your December 9th meeting, you approved the land exchange between Mad River Golf and the neighbor's property, which is Cololian. And as we were proceeding with that application, Rosalind noted that the Cololian property is already substandard at 22.2 hectares, whereas 35 hectares is required. So the land exchange proceeded. There was no objections to that, but there is a condition of that consent, condition number 4, that requires us to appear before you this evening to request your approval of the minor variance. So we're not increasing the bad situation, if we call it a bad situation, but we're just recognizing that the Cololian property has 22.2 hectares rather than 35. So it's the same lot area as previously prior to the land exchange. In my professional opinion, the application does meet the 4 tests under the Planning Act, and I'd ask for your approval for the minor variance for 1912 County Road 42. And Gary, if you have anything you'd like to add, welcome to.
No, well covered. Celeste, I have nothing.
All right, thank you. Rosalind, do you have anything to add to your report or your recommendation?
No, thank you, Chairman Davidson. No, I don't have anything. I'm here for questions.
All right. Members of committee, do any of you have any questions or any points of clarification that you require before we make a decision on this application? No, seeing none. Then I would ask then for someone to, well, I guess I have one question of Rosalind. So the zoning bylaw is 35 hectares for an operational farm. We're providing a minor variance at 22.2 hectares. There's no requirement to provide any limitations on livestock quantities or anything like that, any of that nature for this minor variance.
No, are you referring to the MDS?
Well, no, I'll just, without naming names, I know of a property that was granted a minor variance by a previous committee. It's only about 7 hectares, and there were no stipulations or any restrictions put in place. So on 7 hectares, they could have a 200 head cattle farm if they wanted to, under the interpretation of the decision.
Mhm.
This is not that extreme of an example, but I'm just bringing it up for to make a point.
Sure. In this case, we don't really, I mean, I suppose if the committee had concerns about that, we could certainly put a condition on a minor variance to limit livestock. But I guess I would suggest that the MDS, which is minimum distance separation calculation, would be a way that hopefully we could control the amount of livestock, because that does relate to sort of odors. And it does deal with tillable acres and size of building and so on. It also looks at surrounding uses. So in this case, the golf course would actually play into that calculation, in that odor would actually be quite a big conflict. So I'm not really certain. I don't have, we don't have any buildings on this property to even do a calculation on. But I think you can be rest assured that, through the building permit process, that we would have to look at an MDS calculation, and hopefully that MDS calculation would accurately reflect the type and number of livestock permitted.
Yep. No, thank you. Just a point, because this decision will carry with the property, and although the current owners aren't doing any active intensive agriculture, the next owner may be interested in that. So that was just the reason for my question. Any other comments from any other members before I call for a motion? So I'd call for the motion to approve the recommendation. Member Fanton, seconded by Member Arends. All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank
So
you.
as you're aware, Ms. Phillips and Mr. Ward, there is a 20-day appeal period. Christine will get the notices out promptly. And although I don't anticipate that you need the decision for any permits or anything, it's just as you mentioned earlier, housekeeping issues. So thank you very much for your participation tonight.
Thank you. Go Leafs, go.
Great evening.
Good night.
Good night.
Do we have any new business, Christine?
No, I have no new business.
All right. Do you have a tentative date set for the next meeting?
I do. So February 10th, I believe, is our second Wednesday next month. At this point, we do have one application that we've received in time for that meeting.
All right. Anything from any other members? Short and sweet tonight. Thank you very much. Meeting is adjourned at 7:09.
Thank you.